Kevin from JJ Hat Center. Okay, guys, how how do you choose a hat? How do you choose your first hat? Um, how do you wind up buying something that's right for you that you're not going to regret? That's just not stupid, especially when you're not there in the hat shop. When you're there in the shop, you can try a whole bunch of stuff. Take your time. Look in the mirror, take 20 minutes to decide if it's cool, ask your friend if it's cool, you could take pictures, you could send text to your friends, and walk out, you come back. When you're doing mail order, it's different, You gotta make the choice count. You have to make that choice count on the first time, otherwise you wind up, paying for exchanging, for like sending it back and then shipping the other way. So you're paying, 4 ways shipping or something, or 3 ways shipping, because of your mistake. And then you might make the mistake again. Who knows if you get it right the second time? You're eventually just kind of settling on something that works at all, You keep it. Other times, you know what you like. You've bought enough hats from us that you know what size you are, and you know what you like, and you know what you don't like, and you say, okay, anything with 2 3/8 inch brim and a teardrop, I'm generally going to like it, or anything from this brand, I'm generally going to like it, and that size is going to fit me, okay, So the more you're doing it, the more confident you get. As you're starting out, it's where you begin. There's so many classics. My first hat, when I got to JJ Hat Center in 1994, was a Whippet. I tried to go as gangster as possible. I wanted to be, 1940s film noir. I wanted to look like one of those crinkled up, hats in the gray, black and white movies and stuff, but like the real deal. So I started studying the catalogs, looking at the specs. I knew I wanted a bound edge, I wanted a teardrop, I wanted this kind of brim 2 3/8, 2.5, 2 5/8, something like that. And, I know what colors I was okay with. So I started narrowing it down. I wound up with a Whippet. It was actually a custom Whippet back then from Biltmore. We ordered them open crown, so we would shape our own teardrops or center creases, and they were more nostalgic. They were higher tops, wider bands, same binding and everything, maybe a little wider binding, I don't know. But we had that, and we had one with a raw edge and a slightly bigger brim, like a 2 5/8 inch brim, which was called the Nostalgia. It had that big tall crown, raw edge, bigger brim. We had the Voyager, which came with a teardrop, with a raw edge, and there was all these different custom options for me back then. And there were Stetson Saxons and other things too, and all kinds of things. There were beavers, long hair beavers, velours. I really didn't know where to start. A lot of people do that. They go either the most classic, the most gangster they can get, You could start with like a Humphrey Bogart hat or like a Sinatra hat, which is good too, like a 2-inch brim, flipped down, wide black band, kind of an icy blue gray color, like a Stetson Caribou gray Saxon. Saxon's a perfect hat, you do the Sinatra thing. If you have like gray or white hair and blue eyes, you look kind of like Sinatra, you look gorgeous in that hat, you look great. The icy bluish gray color with your eyes, your hair, you wear a suit. It has a little bit of an attitude. It commands a little like, hey, but it's also handsome as hell. The hat looks good. And I could say that in a kind of a no homo way too, because I'm a hat salesman. You'll look gorgeous. The idea is to get something that flatters you. Let's say you want the same hat that Indiana Jones wore, but it looks bad on you. Go for something slightly different. Get a lighter brown, or get a gray, or whatever. You got to get a hat that looks good on you. That's what I'm getting at. So, all right, there is a kind of a process. That's what I'm getting at, and it's a little bit of a, I guess a process of elimination. That's basically what it is. I'm going to get into it. The price of it is listening to my crappy guitar playing a little bit, so you have to do that. Alright, when you walk into the shop, the first thing you got to think about is am I going to do a hat or am I going to do a cap? Or when you walk into a virtual shop. Okay, if you're not a cap man, like, a newsboy or a flat cap kind of guy, we'll throw that totally out. You're not going down that road at all. So it's going to be for you, hat. Are you going to go down the hat road, Western? Or are you going to go down the dress hat aisle? Or are you going to go, the fedora aisle? You're going to go down the Western hat, or you're going to go somewhere in the middle, like a dune, a stratoliner, a roadster, a flat brim hat, like the Tri-City, an open road, something that's right on the cusp. If you know which road you want to be on, it makes it a little easier, Western or fedora. If you're someplace in the middle, like you want something earthy and not exactly a cowboy hat, but you don't want it to look like a dress hat, like a 1940s, kind of thing either. You're somewhere in the middle. That's okay too. That's a third route, third route. Okay, so we're gonna choose one way. Let's take the dress hat route, because JJ's has a lot more fedoras than we do westerns, and there's more choices too. So it's a little bit more of a difficult route. Western route is a little easier. It's like you're going full out Western, like a cattleman crease, a high cattleman, like a rancher, or you're going something a little bit more tamer, like a lower crown hat, like a open road, a royal flush, a dune, or a teardrop hat, like a Pawnee or a Katera or something. Western is pretty simple, Then you go down the color. What color is it going to be? Now with fedoras, let's go down the fedora route. We're going this way now, towards my Jerry Garcia lithograph. There's his little signature there. Figaro. I heard that cat used to fetch too. He trained it to fetch. That's amazing. Anyway, okay. Getting back to fedoras. No more tangents. Now, when you're on the tangent of fedoras, okay, you're going down that road. Basically, the first thing you want to think about is brim size. That's your big thing. Okay. What kind of brim you imagining? You're thinking about something kind of like a classic fedora, like you're picturing a 2.5 inch brim or 2 3/8, something like this. Okay, this hat is 2 3/8 on the side, 2 5/8 in the front and back. so it averages out about 2.5, you know. It's kind of a biggish brim hat, but it's also considered kind of a classic hat because you got the Stetson, the Stratoliner, the Whippet, all those, so many hats that are just kind of, you know, the Metropolitan, Pinnacle. They're all in that same category, 2.5 to 2 3/8 inch brim, or 2 3/8 to 2.5. It's very, very similar in looks, you know. So that's a classic brim. Or there's kind of a medium brim, kind of shortish thing, which might be considered a 2-inch. This is like a 1 7/8, you know, looks like, or 2, you know. A 2-inch brim is a good hat. It's more like my black hat. Let me show you that one. It's not a tiny, skimpy little brim, but it's also not a big full brim like this. It's kind of like a nice medium, you know, like a, try to behave like a short hair guy for a second. It's a good hat for like a, you know, regular person, like a Sinatra kind of look, a medium brim. It's not like the Sunshine Boys. It doesn't look like an old retiree from Florida, not an old man's hat. It's a medium brim. So 2-inch brim is like the Stetson Saxon, the Mercer from the Czech Republic, which is a great hat, a little higher crown. That one is it's a nice hat too. 1 7/8 inch brim. The Saxon is the classic Sinatra hat or the Blues Brothers hat. It's very close to this from Stetson. You've also got the Ken from Spain, which is a super quality version of the Saxon. If you want something in a little bit more designery colors like taupe, or, you know, like beigeish greens or beigeish camel colors, or you know, like a dusty sort of almost like that brown paper bag color, which is brownish gray almost, like a stone color with a brown band. You know, if you're picturing stuff like this, maybe olive with a brown band, or navy blue with a deep chocolate band, or you know, silver belly, something really custom. That's what that hat is. The Ken is basically a softer, high quality version, custom, of the Saxon. It's a 2-inch medium brim kind of thing, you know, kind of like this. And that's a great road to go down. You have to think brim size. What's the right brim size for me, for my face? What look do I want to put out? What's the image I want to put out, you know, to the world? A 2-inch brim might be a little less showy, a little bit more gentlemanly, and less, I don't know, less fedora-ish. It'll be just kind of understated, small, you know, and less of that kind of neck-beardy sort of stereotype, big fedora thing. 2-inch brims are cool. They're not stingy brims. They're not like little, what do you call it, trendy, like hipster things. That would be much smaller. That would be smaller than 1.5 inch, like 1 3/8 inch, something like that. It's going to give you that look. 2-inch, no. That's kind of just like a regular medium brim hat. But I like it. I like it a lot for a lot of people. So don't go straight to the Temple, the Metropolitan, the Whippet, and the wide hats. Consider the smaller ones too. Think about your face width. Think about your shoulders. Are you thinner and stuff? Do you want something sticking out a lot on the sides? Do you want something a little bit more understated and gentlemanly that has a kind of an authentic look to it? A little more laid back. Generally, the gentlemen, you know, people, you know, are a little bit more sophisticated. The shorter brims look like they're not showy as much. They're not as 40s as gangster, and they're more laid back, more elegant. I guess understated is the word I'm looking for. You know, when you're young, you try to get like the, you know, their first suit for your first interview has like a white tie with a matching white suspenders and, you know, like a white walking stick, you know, and you look like an idiot because you overdo it. By the time you're 40, you bought your 20th suit, you're buying it in great colors. You know, you have a charcoal gray and it's 3 buttons and real tailored, and you're looking fantastic, and you have it tailored to a T. Muted colors and pastels going, and a beautiful, you know, Italian silk tie, a little hand-painted action going on. Whatever. You evolve style-wise. It's the same thing with hats. You don't have to go for the flashiest, most costume-like thing there is. An Indiana Jones hat is going to look outdoorsy because it's wider, it's brown, it's got all those elements. If you get something a little less wider, it'll look the same way, but a little more understated, you know, like a man going out on the weekend or something like that. There's a million different ways for you to express yourself, is what I'm saying. 2-inch brim versus 2.5-inch brim is something you have to give a lot of thought. If you're a wider face guy, you're a little bit fat, big shoulders, wider brim's going to be better for you. If not, if you're a smaller person, a thinner person, you can go for the shorter brim too. Doesn't matter if you're 6'5" or 7 feet or whatever. It's more having to do with the width of your face. Hair too, you got lots of hair, that factors into it. You can't go for a tiny brim because it sticks out the sides, you know. So think about brim size. After that, think color. Once you nailed your brim, you want to think about color now. Now, obviously price is a factor too. You know, that's something you're going to have to work out with yourself, but you know, there's going to be some hats that are in your price range and some not, you know, so we're not going to even talk about that. It's a given. What I'm going to say is this, you know, there are cheap hats, there are good hats and stuff. The cheap hats may not last as long as the good hats, but they cost half the price. So you get 10 years out of a light felt, 20 years out of a fur felt. Well, you paid half as much, you know, so you could get 2 of those. You could have a gray one and a brown one for every single day, and those 2 hats will wind up lasting just as long because you're alternating them. You'll get 20 years out of those 2. So, you know, going more expensive doesn't always, you know, equal, you know, like the best choice. Sometimes, you know, it's good to have a couple of cheaper hats, you know, and alternate them and stuff, you know. It's good to actually give your hat a day off, you know, and let it cool off, let the sweat dry and everything, and alternate your hats if you can, you know, instead of wearing them every single day. Let them dry out and stuff. It's a good thing. All right, talking color now. Dark or light is going to look good on you. Probably not everything. I've always thought I didn't look good in black. This is one of the only black hats I like because it's shortish brim. When I do wide brim hats, you know, like my this one, if I do this kind of thing in black, it looks to me like a religious hat. It looks very, you know, Jewish temple kind of thing, like a rabbi thing. So I don't go for it. When I'm doing wide brims, I do colors generally. Vivid colors like green, blue, pink, lavender, burgundy, because that's just me. It's what I like. I also feel that they match my stuff too. I wear t-shirts, black jeans, you know. So vibrant colors, they work okay and stuff for me. You have to think about what colors are going to work good for your face. Do you look good in light stuff? Do you look good in grays? Because you have like blue, green eyes. You have dark coloration, like dark hair, dark eyebrows, brown eyes, dark coloration, maybe something brown and chestnutty will look really good on you. Maybe you look dynamite in all black. You know, it's just like your thing. You look just so it looks authoritative and strong. Maybe you wear all black, but don't want to wear black on top because it's too much black. You don't want to look like, you know, like the priest in a mafia movie. All black with a black fedora can be very, very dramatic. It could be a little too much. You know, it's like a funeral kind of a thing or something. It's okay if you're a limo driver or something, or if you're in the funeral business, it's appropriate. But if you're not, it's not the most versatile thing. It's dressy, it's good for the evening, but it's not good for everything. Generally, when you're wearing black overcoats, navy, black, best thing is to go with a gray hat. Stetson's caribou, like a caribou Stetson, a caribou colored whippet, caribou temple, caribou stratoliner, anything gray is going to look good with black. It's just the common choice. You do gray with a black band with your black outfit, or with a navy blazer. If you're a guy who wears like khakis and a navy blazer all the time, that kind of guy, gray hat is going to look dynamite. The gray with the black band, the gray with the gray band, it's all going to be good. It's a standard choice. It brightens up the black a little bit more than being the guy all in black. It's like the black, you know, so black that it's almost like it's too intense. You know, what is this guy? Is he the funeral director, or is he, you know, in, I don't know, the Blues Brothers, or, you know, what band is he in? The early Beatles or something? It looks like you're a maitre d' at a restaurant or something. It's kind of a heavy look. I think it can also be very, very dressy and intense. But you know, intense is intense. Do you want to be intense? You know, it can look very businesslike and kind of, you know, strong. You know, kind of give you a bold, strong image. I think in the right situation, I prefer something like gray with a black hat. I also prefer something like this, a taupe color, a greenish gray or a sandy, kind of a brownish gray. Those colors together with black look fantastic. Picture this with black, you know. It's just like, you know, here's black. It looks really good together with it because it's not gray, but it serves the same purpose as gray. This also ties into earth tones. So you could wear this with, you know, some brown shoes now with your black outfit, or some, you know, an earthy looking scarf like a paisley with burgundy and olive or something. You could tie in a burgundy color or an eggplant color to go into this band. You could wear browns, you could do olive. You could wear this with navy blue, with black, with all the earth tones, definitely to any earth tone. It's a very versatile color. Well, black, you know, it does go with black. It probably goes with charcoal and gray, but, you know, not a lot of other stuff. Maybe with dark brown, but I'm going to say taupe, gray. These are really good colors. What you need to decide is if you want to go dark or light. Generally, people are going to look good in, you'll look good in both, but you'll look better in one, you know, one or the other, light hats or dark hats. Think about your coloration, but also think about what you wear. You're going to be wearing this all fall with just a suit. You're going to be wearing this most of the time with a jacket on. Is that time when you walk outside with just a blazer and a suit? A very short time, maybe only like 3 weeks, where you're generally wearing this with your overcoat 90% of the time. Match it to your overcoats then. Think about that. You're going to be wearing it outside all the time. Don't get something that looks crappy with your coats and you're not going to want to wear it. Think about when you're going to wear it and with what. And make sure it looks good with that thing. You don't want to get the same color. Like if you're doing camel or something, don't try to get a camel with a camel because they'll clash. One will look more orangey or more yellowy. The other will, you know, look more whatever, you know. They'll clash. You got to get a contrasting color. Like you could match this with camel. You can match black with camel. There's all different ways to do it, but camel is a difficult color. Generally black, brown, you know, it's not a ton of things you can match with it. Or you could bring in a secondary color if you have, you know, accessories in that color, you know. Like if you're doing camel and you're wearing a second color, like something like, you know, a dark burgundy aubergine, that's okay as long as you have something else, I think, tying that in, you know, like an aubergine silk scarf and paisley with that camel might look good, and then you put in a hat to match that scarf, you know. That's an edgy way to match stuff up, but what I'm getting at is you need to buy your hat for the situation you're wearing it in. If you're going to be wearing your hat in a restaurant because you're buying it for work, you need to cover your hat, your head up at work. So you decide you want a fedora because it's cooler looking than this and that. Okay, you know, think about it. You want something maybe that's unlined or be able to take the lining out so it's cooler. You don't sweat at work. You want something lightweight. You want something that's going to be the right color that looks good with your work clothes, which you wear. You know, if you're wearing it outdoors during the cold years, during the cold months, only for when it's really cold, then, you know, get something that will match your overcoats or whatever you wear when it's really wintry. If you have, you know, this kind of overcoat and you'll be wearing it together, you know, so you have to think about when you're going to wear it and buy the appropriate hat. Now, after I think about color and I think about brim size, we're starting to get our hats down. You might have one or two choices. From there, you have to think about which hat is going to be the hat that I'm going to like down the road. 10 years from now, am I going to still like this? Is this thing too weird? Or is it so amazing because it's weird? Like when I bought my green hats, you know, who would have known that I love it so much and everybody's trying to make, you know, beg us to make green hats like Kevin's because everybody wants one. I had no idea that it was going to be, but I grabbed it, but it was kind of a risky grab, you know, it's a weird color. I happen to know that I love green, so I took that, and I know I like fedoras in really vivid, odd colors like that. It's something special for me. But look down the road and imagine, you know, yourself 10, 15 years from now. Are you still going to like this thing? That's another thing. And anything you do order, mail order, despite the company policy, if the policy is no refunds, exchanges only, anything you buy mail order through the post, okay, in the United States is refundable. That's the law. It's a federal law. So if our shop says no refunds, ever, no refunds, store exchanges made gladly with receipts. That's for in the store, okay? When you buy something mail order, it's refundable or exchangeable. It's up to you. It doesn't matter who you buy it from. Always. You can always send it back. So if you make a mistake and you buy something and it's the wrong choice, no, you could send it right back. Don't worry about trying to reshape it or fix it or change the brim or cut the brim or this and that. Just get rid of it. Send it back. Get your money back. Start again. A hat can be your friend for 20, 30 years, a lifetime. We get our father's hats, our grandfather's hats, vintage hats from the 20s. They last 100 years. They're here for a long, long time. Make your choice count. That's what I'm saying. Anything you buy through the mail, you can send it back. The way they get you is they have restocking fees. So you could ask, you know, we don't do that, but, oh yeah, you could definitely get a refund, but there's a 90% restocking fee if you want to do it, you know. So nobody wants to do it, you know. But I'm exaggerating, of course. But that's a way they get around that. You know, they say, yeah, there's a 30% restocking fee if you want to do that. Restocking fee? Come on. What does it cost to restock something? Nothing. You've got stock boys there anyway doing that job, you know. How to choose a hat. Yeah, think about the hat type, hat or cap, Western or not, or in the middle. Is it going to be an outback or a crossover? Think about what kind of brim you want, the brim size, the flatness of the brim, you know, this and that. You're not going to get every feature you want. You know, if you want it with a bound edge and a flat brim and this size brim and this color and this company and it has to be this price range and, you know, you're not going to get everything. It's just impossible. You know, it's like if you had a signature model guitar made from Gibson, they would make everything you wanted, you know, perfectly. But you're buying off the rack. These are products that are made for everybody. So they try to pick popular features, but everybody wants different stuff. Some people love bound edges. Some people love raw edges. Some people, you know, like this or that. You have to compromise. You're not going to get every single thing right. If everything looks good, but it's got a skinny band and you like wide bands, big deal, go for it. You can always change your bands. Bands could be changed. You could even put a new band right on top of the old band. It's easy to do. You even have clip-on bands for $10 that you could just put on in like 30 seconds. But you know, you don't want to cut a brim. You don't want to do stuff like that. But anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? Kevin from that old JJ Hat Center. Driving friends.